We wish there was an assessment that would identify our passions, but we haven't found one that works. Finding your passion requires a prayerful thought and reflection. Now, if you do a Google search on how to find my passions, you'll notice a whole lot of opinions and a whole lot of approaches. Now, core values are closely related to passions in that they define the reason why you do the things you do and dream the dreams you dream. A core value is something that produces a desire to do things like study the Bible or live missionally or do life in community or mentor others to become leaders. A passion, though, is what gives you the consistent energy and enthusiasm to do the things that are suggested by your core values. Often you will identify things you're passionate about, which are fueled by your core values. And this is why in your next course in this program, you'll learn to use our proprietary core values assessment for Christian ministry. You might be passionate about vigorous exercise, running, wrestling, maybe reading, knitting, writing, maybe speaking. But whatever your passions are, they will fuel your purpose and they'll give you energy when you're actually doing them. We find it impossible to come up with an exhaustive list of core values and passions. There's just too many. There are so many things to choose from that it must be up to you to identify what motivates you to do what you do or what you want to do. But know this, some passions are biblical. Some are godly, while others are just the opposite of that. A passion for money and wealth, for power, pornography, sex, control. These are examples of ungodly passions, and they're certainly valid. They might be validly held, and they'll be what drives many people forward. So as you think about yours and prepare to help your clients find theirs, be careful to compare the passion with Scripture and practice those passions. Practice the ones that align with what God confirms as both biblical and good. And that will require self-control and self-awareness. Don't just follow your hearts here. Just because you have a passion for something doesn't mean it's good or healthy according to God. Okay, so how shall we define a passion then? Well, let's consider the Oxford Dictionary definition as a starting point. Passion is an intense desire or enthusiasm for something. In a 2012 study described in the Journal of Psychology of Well-Being, a passion is described as a strong inclination toward a self-defining activity that people like or even love, find important, and in which they invest time and energy on a regular basis. That's a good definition. Research strongly suggests that people who invest significant time and energy in their passion or passions as a way of life, that they'll have a strong psychological, emotional, and even a spiritual well-being. But uncovering and defining your passions requires some thought and work. It's not as easy as you might think. And here is where commitment to self-awareness is so incredibly important. According to licensed psychotherapist Babita Spinelli, discovering one's passion is discovering the deeper parts of yourself, who you are, and what your gifts are. It can truly be a powerful place when you connect to your passion or passions. And in an article written by Sarah Regan of MBG Spirituality and Relationships on October 30th, 2022, it was called 9 Ways to Find Your Passion at Any Age. She suggests there are 9 ways to find your passions. One is you cultivate more self-awareness. Now, you should be asking yourself the following questions, she says, and write your response on a paper or journal and answer them in order. You should actually write these down and try them out on yourself. First is, what kinds of things bring me joy? Now, then, how do I feel when I do these things? And what are the things that I love to do? What are my core values and beliefs? Followed by what might be limiting me in figuring out what my passion is or passions are. Then, what are my strengths or natural abilities, and what gives me energy and excitement, and what activities am I committed to and actually do, and which ones am I procrastinating on? Do I keep putting off? That'll be a clue, won't it? What can I talk about or do for hours at a time that lights me up while doing it? Write those questions down and answer them for yourselves. The second thing she says in the 9 is consider your vision statement that describes the future you that you would like to move toward. What is driving this vision? See if this gives you a hint about specific passions that you can actually write down and name. The third thing is to get out of your comfort zone. If you're stuck in a rut, remember that a rut is nothing but a grave with both ends knocked out. If you find yourself failing to make any progress toward your vision, you're stuck, then ask yourself if you need to try something new, something different. How might you arrange your life around your passions? Try something different. Get a different result. Then the fourth thing she suggests is to make a list of the things that inspire you. Have you ever done that before? Consider spending some significant time on this. Write down all the things and the people who inspire you. Consider why that is. How do these help you define what your passions are? Number 5 is to reflect on the most meaningful times in your life. You think back over your life and write down the times when you felt the most satisfied, the happiest, the most fulfilled. Can you identify the 4 most meaningful experiences you've ever had? So where was God during these times? How did you feel about God during those times? Number 6 is to practice mindfulness. This is closely tied to your personal spiritual disciplines and self-awareness. So be sure to set a regular time, place, and plan for personal meditation, scripture reading, contemplation, prayer, memorization, and even journaling. Ask God to speak to your heart and mind. Be prayerful about it. Be quiet and listen for His voice. The 7th thing she suggested is to work with a professional coach. That's why this program is all about. That's why we're here, helping you to become a certified Christian coach. Learn how to help yourself go deeper in self-awareness so that you can help your clients do the same. She says number 8 is to find like-minded people, kindred spirits, if you will. Identify people in your life who seem to share the same sort of passions and hang out with them. Start a small group. Brainstorm and share life with each other. Encourage one another. Help each other to live out your core values and your passions and to do what God is calling you to do and make progress. And finally, number 9 is to look to your community. The people that you do already regularly spend time with may help point to the things that you're passionate about. So what do you love about these people that you hang out with? What gives you joy when you're with them? What do they do that you also love to do? And be sure to ask your people what they think you're passionate about based on their observations of you. According to Regan, your passions should be fun. They should be inspiring and enlivening. You should be enthusiastic about them. But to find them, you must spend quality time in self-awareness, mindfulness, spiritual disciplines, and pay attention to the things that actually light you up. In the textbook on page 155, you'll find a chart from Dr. Collins, a very helpful chart, Finding Your Passions, that aligns really well with the 9 ways to find them that I just described. Ultimately, as a Christian coach, our fondest hope for ourselves and our clients is to find out what pleases God and test our passions against His standard. Perhaps you have a passion or two that may need to be crucified on that cross we are told to pick up and carry. But others will describe things that God actually wants us to work in for His glory. Once you've discovered your passions and helped your client find them as well, what next? Well, this is where you need to incorporate them into your coaching practice. You'll need to help people move toward that vision they have for themselves while doing the things that are defined by their core values and their passions. So in vision casting and setting SMART goals, you create that conduit that directs your passions toward the future you want to have. Richard Chang said, and I quote, "Passion without purpose is meaningless." Well, we agree with that statement. To do this, you must be committed to a life that is guided by your passions and your calling of God. a wise old country blue-collar scholar who I loved once, and said to me, "There ain't no use having an itch if you're not willing to scratch for it." And pray, my friends, pray a lot, and start working on a plan for living it out. Don't get that in the wrong order. Just stop planning things out for yourself apart from God and expect Him to answer your prayers. Avoid the trap of a prayer without working. Don't be like that guy standing in a field leaning on a shovel while praying for a hole to appear. Learn to pray, not that God will bless the things that you are doing, but that you will learn to do the things that God is blessing. That's a quote from St. Francis of Assisi, I believe. Now be sure to get information too. Experiment with your passion. Try it out. Get out of your comfort zone and do some in-person research about the thing, whatever that thing is, that you see yourself doing, and then get to know people you feel called to do that with and do that for. You learn best by actually doing, and you'll learn most from making mistakes. Find those supportive people who resonate with your life and passions. Give wise counsel, get wise counsel from them, and give them counsel too. Let them encourage you and support you while you're doing the same for them. And don't quit. Don't give up. Identify the obstacles that might hinder your progress and face them head on. Like I said, this is not easy. Nothing in your life that is worthwhile has ever been easy, so why should this be easy? Be committed and consistent and keep moving forward, spending quality time on this, and learn how you will help your clients identify and live out their passions for their future that they long for too. You just do the same. And remember, if you're still breathing, you're not done yet.